Hi, and welcome everyone to the end of life journey and beyond the sands of time. My name is Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I am a bereavement specialist. Good to see you, Susan.
Great to see you too, Lisa. It's so nice. I think it's been a couple weeks, right? You were away and I was away. I don't know, but it's so good. I look forward to our times when we get back together because we're doing such important work here, I think.
We are.
So today we want to talk a little bit about, of course, grief, right? Because we talk about grief before, during, and after end of life or loss. And we want to talk about how grief can feel like such a heavy weight and it anchors us, with our pain and isolation, especially. But what if I told you today that the path to healing, it could begin with a single step? That's really important. Remember those words that I just said. Welcome to today's video because we are going to explore how getting involved in charity walks and volunteering for other organizations as well can be a powerful way to navigate your journey in grief. So our communities unite for several reasons, and there are too many for us to list today. We will list a few, but there's just too many going on out there. And it may seem daunting at first, but volunteering for these events, I want you to know whether you're walking or helping behind the scenes, it can offer a unique blend of physical activity as well as emotional fulfillment. And Lisa and I know this both firsthand. So today we're going to discover how these small acts of participation can lead to big changes in your healing process. We promise you. So if you're struggling with loss right now or know someone who is, then stick around because we're about to take that first step together towards finding purpose and connection in the midst of grief. Right?
Great intro.
So Lisa, I want you to start and lead us off today because, as a matter of fact, you were just at an event yesterday, I believe,
I
correct?
was. I was. I was. So let's just talk about October. Interesting here in the New York area. October seems to be the month for walks. Whether
Yeah.
it's a Lustgarten walk or an Alzheimer's walk or a leukemia walk or breast cancer walk, it just seems to be the month. People like to pick that month. And over here on Long Island, we have beautiful Jones Beach. And by that Jones Beach Theater, there is an area that everybody wants to walk to. It's a boardwalk walk, and it's a really nice opportunity to celebrate our loved ones and to also feel like you're doing something for a cause. So this is what it does for you. First of all, let me just start by saying personally, Lustgarten Foundation here on Long Island is the largest not-for-profit private foundation that does research for pancreatic cancer research and early detection. They work with Cold Spring Harbor Labs, which is the scientists, and they're still trying to figure out that's one of the four deadly forms of cancer. So I'm united, of course, with all those who also have lost people. I lost my husband 15 years ago. I got involved with Lustgarten immediately because they were very helpful. And so, as a thank you for me, I wanted to give back. And the first thing I did was I wrote a book. So I wrote one book in 2010, a year after my husband died, about the disease. And I interviewed a number of people, about 20 families. And then I started selling the book, and 100% of the money goes back to Lustgarten. And they know me really well over there. And then in 2020, I wrote my second book, which was a follow-up book. And so my goal was obviously to raise money, but also to help people feel like they're not so alone. And so I became involved with these walks and these whole fundraising activity because I want to do something where I felt that not only was I supporting, but I was with everyone. There is something very powerful about sharing that same experience, the same stories, the same situation. And though people are different ages, stages, whatever, to come together is so incredibly powerful. So I'm going to show you through pictures because pictures say 1,000 words. Every year I do a table. I do have a team, and sometimes I've walked. with, a number of people, but I have found it to be more productive. I'm always now by the merchandise area. They sell their t-shirts, they sell their hats and all, but I'm over there with my second book. And I greet the people. I have pictures, and you'll see I have pictures of the people who are in my book. I talked to them about why I did this and what it meant to me. And I'm out of books now. Okay. I have no more books left to sell. I have brought them every year and I've sold them for, the money that I can raise, and I hand it right over to the people in the merchandise tent. So it's very powerful when people come over and you say to them, are you walking in memory of somebody or in honor of somebody? There are a few survivors. This is a deadly disease. There are a few survivors there, and the whole event celebrates hope and celebrates the opportunity to say we're all in this together. So the survivors start the walk. They are in the front. Very powerful. And also during that time, there's a speech. There's a few people come forward. They talk about research, where they are now and what's going on. The executive director, Carrie Kaplan, greets everybody. And then this powerful story. They love celebrating wins. And this one was diagnosed a number of years ago and has beaten it and is alive now 7 years, which is huge for pancreatic cancer. And she talked about her will to live, and she talked about her story. And it's amazing, just so powerful to be among people who, number one, we all, have been through it. We all understand it, and we all share that camaraderie. So people coming over
Before
to the, yeah,
Before you show the pictures, Lisa, I
yeah,
just want to make note of something you said before I forget. You've mentioned a couple times just now about how coming together for the same reason or a particular reason. And it's just not about loss. It
right,
could be, as a matter of fact, we're in an upcoming show, we're having somebody who's grieving because of divorce. We grieve over many different things in life. So my point is that it is comforting to be around a person or a group of people who have that common cause. Whether it's, whether it's a friend of yours that is going through a divorce at the same time you are, whether it's a sick child that's in and out of the hospitals and having somebody to talk to and vent to, because there's something about, and I know especially when my husband passed and now I'm a widow, there's something about talking to another person who really gets you. They get you. They know where you've come from. They've walked in your sneakers.
right,
They've walked
right,
in your shoes. And they understand your words that are coming out of your mouth.
yep,
So it's the
yep.
same thing. There are many, many causes. I mean, there are suicide walks and events where people raise money. There's Diabetes Foundation. There's for sick children, all kinds of things, but what resonates with your heart. And and if you had somebody in your life that passed away of suicide and you can get involved with that group who raises money for mental illness, you know, you're going to feel comforted by the other people there that have lost somebody to suicide. It goes back to the old phrase, misery loves company.
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's a silly way to say it, but it's almost kind of true. When we know somebody, we want that camaraderie, we want that comfort. So
okay.
I didn't mean
I'm,
to interrupt
no,
you, but
no, that's excellent. I'm going to also give them one more phrase, and that is empowerment. When you feel that you're doing something, because you're very helpless when people are sick or when people have died, and you feel like, now what? You feel like you're doing something. That's why some people establish a foundation in their children's name. That's why they decide to do some kind of big fundraiser or some kind of, something that meant something to honor that person, to honor their memory. That's very empowering. Okay. And so empowerment, when you're raising money for a cause, even if I'm not raising 10, 15, $20,000, the money that I am raising, I feel so like I've done something important, like I've
Right.
done something that means something to me personally. Okay. So whatever cause that is to somebody, or in the memory of somebody, or the honor of somebody who's, fighting something, that is very powerful. And then coupled with the group, to see so many people, because I'm going to show pictures, to see so many people joining together, and then families. Okay, you bring little kids wearing shirts, wearing purple, by the way, a sea of purple. Okay, and to see that and to feel like you're part of that is amazing. It's amazing. And the stories are sad, and we cry together and we hug each other and all. It brings back so much, for my husband, somebody whose husband is fighting it right now. And I gave him a few ideas and a few things that worked for us, a few things that we learned. Again, that sharing, you feel like you're helping somebody, you feel like you're supporting them, and you feel like you're doing something. You're doing something, you know?
I volunteered for the Alzheimer's walks through the National Aging in Place Council and with the law firm that I work for a couple days a week. And it's really it's a good feeling to be there with everybody. At the Alzheimer's walks, they give the flowers, like the little different color flowers, that the different colors mean different things. So everybody walks with one of these big flowers. One means, in memory of somebody and in honor of somebody that's still with us, or there are different reasons for the different colors. I personally have not had anybody in my family pass of Alzheimer's, but that doesn't matter. These were the walks that I fell into wanting to volunteer for these organizations and for my law firm. And it feels good to be able to go and to do what I do and talk to people and stand around. And really it's just a few hours in the morning. I have
Yes.
another one. The one in Babylon is in a couple of weeks. I'll be at that one. Um, they have four of the Alzheimer's walks, four different walks
Wow.
here on the island. So I'm sure they're all over the United States.
Yep. Yep. And they're very well planned out. I mean, you have all
Yeah.
kinds of
Oh,
staff that
it
has
took
to
a
plan.
year to plan out some of these.
So detailed. And of course, you have the
Right.
fundraising before it starts. And I'm doing it through another thing to get some percentage out. Some people don't want to just donate, so they want something. So I'm doing something else through another organization it's called Pampered Chef, of course, and they're doing a percentage of whatever people buy. Some people just want to buy something. I want to have a beautiful whatever it is, pan, pot, whatever, and a percentage is going. So I feel like at least there's something going on there. So there's all kinds of ways of doing this. Bottom line is that in the end, you feel like you're part of something. You feel like, yes, you've lost that person to this, or, you're mourning whatever it is. And now you feel like you come together. It's action. You have a role. You have an important role in something, no matter how
Right.
big or small it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So really nice. I'm going to share some pictures because pictures are really worth 1,000 words. And I'm going to show everyone how special this is, if it will open up. It might open up, might not. It's swirling around a little bit right now. So let's just see if we can do this. I want to start out with this picture first because this is my table. And I want to explain how important this is. I have my partner with me. There were many years when my partner did not come with me and I did it alone. And through the years, finally he said to me, "Hey, would you like some company? Would you like me to come too?" And I said, "Sure, that would be really nice." And it really means a lot to me. And also shows people that life goes on, which is one of the things I talk about all the time. That, both of us are widows. And here we are sharing this, which is really my thing, together. Really means a lot. And that's my table.
What a
Um,
great picture, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you. Really nice. That's before everybody arrived. So it's empty for now. And it's not going to be so empty after this. So I'm going to switch the next one. Now you see crowds. So what you see here is people of all ages wearing different shirts. What's really nice is that teams come together. They wear shirts in honor of the person that they've lost or that they're honoring. And they wear big buttons. This woman in front here with this huge button. It was for her aunt. I love Aunt somebody or other. And they, are all talking and they're all, all together. And as I said, there's children there, there's dogs there, all dressed up in shirts and stuff. I mean, it becomes a real gathering, a real sense of power to have everybody together like that. Here's the dog, with the little bandana on and stuff, and everybody. And I want to show this because there's a stage there, and that's where people did their beginning opening, and that under thing, that little bridge thing, that's where they cross over to the boardwalk, and they have a choice. They can walk a mile, they can walk 3 miles, you can walk a little bit and then come back. It doesn't really matter. There's strollers, kids came with their bicycles, there was some scooters there, you know, people's got backpacks and stuff and signs and banners. I mean, this is a whole big thing. And amazing. Just the climate of everybody and the excitement. Oh, and they're playing music. And of course, they have a lot of sponsors. So the sponsors have tables and stuff too. Just really well. There, look at this. Really well organized. And you see the kids. Um, just amazing. And so feel like you're part of something big, bigger than you. And of course,
Right.
I know the executive director really well. And the executive director and I, because she endorsed my book, I always go up to her and I tell her, hey, how's it going and what's going on with the organization. I always go up to Cold Spring Harbor Labs too to find out what the latest science is, for the research for a cure or early detection anyway would really help. So they raise a lot of money. In the years that they've done this, they're celebrating, I think, 25. They've raised $20 million. It's a lot of
Wow.
money, and the disease is just still such a deadly disease. They've isolated a few genes. They know some of the things that happen, but they're still trying to figure out how to detect it early, which is really big for pancreatic cancer, and then figure out the cure, because there's a whole nother thing. That tumor is very resistant to most of the drugs, most of the chemo drugs and stuff. And it also, unfortunately, metastasizes long before anybody notices it. So those are the problems with pancreatic cancer. But the day and that morning, from 8 a.m. of arrival to leaving till at noon, it's just filled with so many incredible conversations that I had with people, hugs that I gave people, business cards. By the way, I give out our business cards, and they love the fact that we have a YouTube series. And I say to them, go on it, pick out the kinds of videos that you feel would be helpful to you. And they are so grateful. I didn't know something like this existed. How wonderful it is that I can hear people and all. I tell them it's personal what we do. And it makes me feel really good that I've done that we promoted it this way and another way of getting out that word about what we do.
I think it's really important, this topic today. It may not be a very long one, but it's really important because although I know now the people that go and volunteer for the walks and a lot of people that do the walks, there's so many people out there today that have no idea what it looks like, what's involved. So this is an important topic, and I'm so grateful that you did share those pictures. But another thing, comes to my mind. So I kind of fell into the lap of the Alzheimer's walks, okay, for many reasons. But before that, I'm talking years back when being in my business wasn't even a thought in my brain, right? Um, Raising money does help these causes.
Yes.
And I think about breast cancer.
Mm,
And I think about
mm,
breast cancer on Long Island. And when I was just 20 years old, it it was so big and nobody understood why, and there's nothing we can do about
right.
it. And every other woman's getting breast cancer in New York, and right. And it was more scary. But then I see all the walks and all the retreats and everything they have for breast cancer. And as the years have gone on, maybe it's been 20 years or 25 years for me, but within that time, I feel like it's not a deadly thing
It's the
anymore. We
truth.
have ways
That's
to
right.
look at it and
That's right.
research it. And part of that honestly has to do with
That's right.
all of the people who are donating and volunteers. And that's why breast cancer now, if your friend gets breast cancer,
Yes.
it's almost like
Yes.
instead of thinking they're going to die in
Yes.
6 months, they're thinking, oh, the survival rate, and you'll
Yes.
be just fine.
That's right.
Now,
That's
not
right.
everybody,
Right.
but that's how we think of breast cancer now. And I think that largely has to do with the way we raise money
True. It's
for the
true.
illness.
It's true. When I walked breast cancer walk, I um I had a sign on me, and there were 14 women on that sign. 14 women between friends and relatives. Three had died, but that was back in the 80s and 90s where they didn't know what they know now. And the rest of them, it's a lumpectomy or it's some, even the ones who have mastectomies are still doing fine. Okay. They're still doing fine. I mean, it's an ordeal. Don't get me wrong. It's an ordeal to go through. But the
It
fact,
also has to do with raising the money
yes,
and discovering the new medications.
yes, yes,
Who pays these people to discover these new medications that are
that's right.
helping so many people?
That's right.
So that's part of the help that we give.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So for the person who has lost somebody or is taking care of somebody, that we always talk about support, and support is a big one. And then empowerment and feeling like you're doing something and that people understand where you're coming from. People can love you and your friends and all, but they don't know what we all know when we've shared that together, and it is really incredible. So everybody should consider whatever is important to them, whatever resonates with them, whatever they feel they want to get involved with, because it's a wonderful way of using your sorrow or using your loss and putting it into such a productive, incredible way. Incredible, you
Now I'm
know.
hearing so many people watch this and say, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to do anything. Stop bothering me. Why am I listening to this right now? And it's true, but we also know the other side of it. So even if you don't search and find that one particular thing that resonates with you, try something out of the box like I did with the Alzheimer's. That didn't resonate with me. I know it's a big problem, really big
It
problem.
is
More and
huge,
more
huge.
people now than ever
Sure.
are being diagnosed with dementia and Alzheimer's. So you never know. Just have an open heart. You never know what will resonate with you and the new people that you're going to meet, and maybe new friends in your life, and doing new things. And that could mean an hour or two a week. It could mean an hour or two a month to
Right,
help.
right.
There are
And it
no
might not be,
restrictions,
yeah,
no
it might not
time card.
Yeah. So it might not be just the raising money part. It might be that they need help with the mailing, okay? Or they need help with some
Right,
phone calls, or they need something else. Because I know some people are very uncomfortable asking for money, and I get that. But there are lots of things that especially because this is so huge, all the planning and everybody that has to be part of it. There's all kinds of things that you might be able to volunteer with and help with. Okay.
right. We did a show with my director from the hospice that I volunteer at, right? So we think of hospice as, oh, what a good organization for people who are at the end of life. That's wonderful. But you really don't know, they could never do it without the volunteers,
That's true.
right? Because the volunteers, I'm the one that's going to people's houses at the end of life, or going in to make bereavement calls once a month to families to check on them, or going in to file and help with paperwork. There's so many aspects of it that you can get involved in.
Yes, yes. And one more thing about interesting about buying merchandise. When you have that sweatshirt, and it says Lustgarten, or you have a hat that says hope, okay? Or you have a pin, like I have pins that I made up. All those things, again, show support and show that we're all unified together. It's so incredibly helpful and powerful for people to do that, and you know that the money goes to them. And by the way, research, please. There are organizations where a huge amount of money goes to administrative costs, and I'm uncomfortable with that. I don't like that. People need to research and find out where money's going. There are organizations, Gold, something or other, where you can look up and you can look up their financials. Usually on their website, they have financials as well. Lustgarten, just to let you know, 100% of the money goes to cause. And that's because they are funded by a local company whose vice president had pancreatic cancer and who died back in the 80s. And they came up with this back in 94, a foundation, and this organization pays salaries, rent, and every other cost other than the raising the money. So it's incredible that 100% of the money, that's very unusual. Okay. It bothers me sometimes when I see very high salaries in administrators. It bothers me. And people, look, they're working hard for their money, and I get that, but they are not for profit that's working towards a cause. And I hate to see so much of the money go towards salaries. So just look up everything, see if you're comfortable with what they do, how they do it, what their structure is. Again, that's personal for me, because that to me, I worked for 5 nonprofits, so I know that, and I know what's involved with the work and all. But do what's comfortable for you and what you feel really resonates with you, what you feel excited about. You'll feel, I was so charged up afterwards. I mean, yes, the stories were really sad and all, but charged up that I was able to give, to help, to support people in so many different ways. The children who came up to me, I said, here, you have a pen, grandpa's gone, just the discussions were amazing. Just
Yeah.
incredible, incredible. So
Well,
support
and
people.
it's a nice thing also that you brought that up just now. First of all, about doing your research and finding where the money goes to, because most people don't know that you can go and look into that, right? So that was an important point today. But as far as the grandchildren, even, it's good to get children involved when they're younger because they're a part of it and they understand what this world is all about. When they're able to lend a hand and even just walk around the little lake, and they know that they're helping and giving back for other people who have lost a grandparent so it's life changing for them. As a matter of fact, I don't think that I could think of one walk in all the years that I went on with my two boys.
Mm,
Just one.
yeah,
Because I don't know, nothing really resonated with me. It wasn't to the top of mind. I was at sports all the time. They were each in 5 different sports, and that was taking up our
right.
time and on weekends, and it wasn't something that I thought about. But I think now, looking back, that that's an important part of teaching your children, what really matters in life.
It is. And the other thing I want to say, which is really interesting, is that schools have gotten involved. And I love that. You have cheerleaders sometimes with purple
Right.
pom-poms, and this is part, by the way, the community service work. Some need to do certain community service credits. You got that. And then you also have schools that have clubs, Helping Hands Club, these social clubs that help in the community, and they choose which ones they want to go to. I saw a number of young students, high school students there, and they were helping out in different ways. What a great opportunity for them. First of all, it looks
Also,
great on a resume, but secondly, how wonderful it is that they have this experience and they get to see something outside of just their school environment. Wonderful.
right. And cheering for a cause versus just cheering for a game.
That's right.
So where can people call and find out what's going on locally? I know sometimes the libraries, in the library newsletters and all tell you about different things that are happening,
Mhm.
different events that are going on. But is there a particular place that you could think of, Lisa, that somebody can jump on? And I know there's those couple
So,
volunteer organizations
right,
on.
right. So
What
correct.
those up?
There's an organization called Volunteer Match, and you put in where you're located, how many days you would be willing to do, what kind of thing you'd like to do, that kind of thing, and they'll match you. Or you can search like what kinds of things are here in this area and whatever. You can do that. There's Volunteer Match. That is an organization. And then whatever cause is dear to your heart. Now, listen, a lot of people die of heart attacks. The American Heart Association is crying for people all the time. Go red, where they all wear red on February, whatever it is, 2nd or something. Um, there's others. I think you have to figure out sort of the things that mean something to you for whatever reason, or for you. Look, in your work, you were, and a lot of, by the way, that's also great that corporate wants to get involved in some way with something that means something to the company, whether it's the executive director,
Oh,
whether it's the
constantly.
owners. How wonderful that is. That's wonderful.
Constantly. So normally every Friday at the law firm, they have Jeans Day, right? So that stops come September. But now for the month of October now, they're donating to cancer for if you wear jeans. If you
Uh-huh.
want to wear jeans on a Friday, you bring in $5.
Uh-huh.
And then Brian matches the total at the end of the month, however
Nice.
much everybody donated. So that's a
Nice.
beautiful thing, right?
Right, right. So you see, you can do it through work. Obviously, you can talk to people, family members, and others,
So
friends.
I do legacy wills with Brian, right? And I talk to a lot of couples and who do these legacy wills, and we're on a Zoom session. And I got to tell you, there is such a high percentage of people that are spiritual and volunteer when the questions come up about volunteering. A lot of them volunteer through the church, through different church events
Yeah,
that they're a
yeah.
part of. So maybe through your church, they have different events going on. You can learn about them that way as well.
And even senior centers. I think senior centers also have lists and different suggestions of what people
You
can
just
do.
have to ask.
You
You have
do.
to ask, you have to reach out, and then you have to take that baby step. Get a friend involved. Let them know
Yes,
that you want to do this next month. Would you come with me?
yes, yes. That this way you're not doing it alone, which is really
Right.
important. People, don't want to take the
Exactly.
step and do that. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so I'm hyped because of the support I got and everything, and of course remembering my husband yesterday. Um, and showing people that life goes on. Really nice showing them that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a good example of that.
Yeah,
So
thank
that
you.
was great. I hope we offered some value today. And also, if you're listening and you have any additional questions, type them in, send us a message. You see our phone numbers here, and we'll be happy to help.
Yeah. And also, as we always say, if there's a topic that we've not covered in our 127 videos, let us know. We're always trying to think something else that would be important and that would be relevant for
Yeah,
everyone. So
yeah,
continue to think about other ideas because we are open. We've been doing this a couple of years now, and we're open to
yeah.
what's going on and what would help people. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
Right.
And to close, just let's remind people about what we do because we forget to do that sometimes, but
We
we do
do.
have other part-time things that we do. So I
Go
am
ahead.
at Tully Law Firm in Melville. We now have 3 locations in Riverhead and Northport as well to get your estate plan in place. Every aspect and every part of that. And Brian now offers the legacy will because I am a legacy specialist. So I do that a couple days a week. And then the other days a week, I do my own legacy projects with clients, and it's a lot of fun. I have the new recent radio project that I started this year, and it's an important message. I started this, and I just like to tell people why I started this. It took 6 years to come to fruition. because so many people as an end of life doula would cry and say, Susan, what I would give to hear their voice just one more time. I just want to hear their voice. And I thought, well, that's pretty impossible. But now I found a way to make that happen. So it's a little bit about pre-planning, like you do when you buy insurance of any kind, or pre-plan your funeral expenses, or it's a pre-planning measure that we work together on a project to leave your special 2-hour message to your loved one on a little vintage radio. So I do a lot of that now. So just reach out anytime if you want to learn more. And Lisa, you've been keeping busy as well.
I have. So, of course, I am a bereavement specialist and I am available for one-to-one. But I do have two groups running right now. One is at a retirement home, and that has to do with caregiving and it has to do with grieving two young widows who are pretty recent, a year, almost a year, that kind of thing. Small group. And then the other group is through the Widowers on Long Island, and I do a group called Moving On. And it's not a bereavement group in any way. It's about a moving on group. So this is all about how do we create our next life after loss. And we're meeting once a month, and it's a really good opportunity for people. But you have to be a member of Widowers on Long Island. It's a Facebook group. It's a great group, by the way. There's a lot of different groups. We've talked about groups before. A lot of different groups, and they do many different activities. But I asked them, and I said, "Would you like me to do some kind of support group?" And they said, "Absolutely. We haven't had a support group in a really long time." So I enjoy that, and it's a really nice opportunity.
Fantastic. So reach out to Lisa anytime for more information about these or many others. And
Yep.
thank you very much for checking in today. We appreciate you and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep. Okay. Take care. Always good to see you, Susan.
You
Bye.
too, Lisa. Bye.
Bye bye.